Are Japan's playgrounds becoming political battlegrounds? Stay tuned to Asian News Review. Imagine this. Your child comes home from regular Tuesday at elementary school, but instead of complaining about math homework or talking about the latest video game, they're casually repeating phrases like, "Go back to your country." How would you react? Would you brush it off as just kids, being mean? Or would you wonder where on earth they learned something like that? Welcome back to Asian News Review, where we dive into the headlines shaping the Asia-Pacific region. Today, we're looking at a deeply concerning trend unfolding right now in Japan. We're going to talk about adult politics, social media algorithms, and a rising nationalism that are making their way out of the ballot box and straight into the playgrounds. Stick around because the story we are covering today tells us a lot about where Japanese society is heading and why we might all need to take a step back and breathe. Our starting point today is a recent and rather alarming article published by Shueisha Online. The headline translates to "Go back to your country. Bullying of foreigners by Japanese elementary school students is rampant." Is this expansion of the wrong sense of Japan first the cause? According to data released by the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology, recognised cases of bullying in Japan hit a record high of nearly 770,000 cases in the recent fiscal year. That's a 5% increase from the previous year. Most of this involves teasing, name-calling or threatening language. But experts are pointing out a chilling new layer to this age-old societal problem. The target is increasingly foreign students or children of mixed heritage, and the motivation isn't just standard playground cruelty, it's political. Experts cited in the article describe this as a misunderstood sense of justice taking root in young minds. Kids are echoing a Japan-first ideology. They see news reports, they watch YouTube videos, and they hear adults complaining about foreign tourists or immigrants. The kids internalise this narrative. Foreigners are causing trouble in our country, so by telling them to go home, I'm protecting Japan. Think about how terrifying that is. These are elementary school students. They aren't debating immigration policy or economic impacts. They're acting as a mirror for the xenophobia that is slowly bubbling up in the broader adult society. When a 10-year-old tells a classmate who happens to have foreign parents to go back to your own country, they think they are playing the role of a hero. The media environment right now is an absolute powder keg. Just looking at the recent news headlines surrounding this piece is eye-opening. You have stories about foreigners skiing on mountains while they're closed and getting injured. Stories about new system in Ibaraki Prefecture where people get 10,000 yen reward for reporting illegal foreign workers, which some are dubbing a foreigner witch hunt. And endless stories about foreign tourists causing a nuisance in convenience stores or using illegal taxis. When you surround society with this constant barrage of foreigners behaving badly media, it's no wonder that adults get angry. And when the adults get angry, the kids listen. But let's pull the camera back and look at the broader context here. Why is this narrative so prominent right now? To understand the playground, we have to look at the politicians. In recent years, we've seen the rise of right-wing populist political movements in Japan. A prime example is the Sanseitō party. They're gaining traction by tapping into the very real anxieties of the Japanese public: economic stagnation, a rapidly aging population, and a changing cultural landscape. They push a heavy nostalgic, nationalistic rhetoric. They talk about protecting Japanese identity, protecting Japanese resources, and being wary of foreign influence. And here is where the political mechanisms kick in. Japan's ruling party, the LDP, or the Liberal Democratic Party, has been in power for nearly the entirety of Japan's post-war history. The LDP is traditionally a big tent conservative party. But as parties like Sanseitō or other vocal right-wing groups start pulling away conservative voters by taking harder lines on immigration and foreign residents, the LDP feels the pressure. To maximise their votes and prevent these smaller fringe right-wing parties from eating their lunch, the LDP is forced to shift further right themselves. They start adopting tougher rhetoric. They start implementing stricter policies. We see this in the tightening of immigration rules, the crackdowns on overstayers, and the heavy policing of tourist zones. What we are witnessing is a massive xenophobia loop. It goes like this. First, a real but isolated problem happens. Let's say a foreign tourist behaving badly. Second, the media sensationalizes it because outrage generates clicks. Third, right-wing political groups amplify the story to say, look, Japan is under attack. Fourth, the ruling LDP shifts right to capitalise on the votes of outraged citizens, validating those fears on an institutional level. Finally, this institutional and societal normalisation of xenophobia filters down through the culture, straight into the living rooms and eventually the schoolyards. The result? An elementary school kid telling their classmate to go home, believing that they are acting out of justice. The loop sustains itself and everyone is too busy pointing fingers to stop it. Now, if you'll allow me a personal segue here, I think it's time we all just take a collective breath. Both sides need to calm down a little. Let's look at the kids first. Primary school children aren't inherently bullying foreigners out of deep-seated racial malice. They don't know what macroeconomics or demographic shifts are. They are just echoing their environment. To fix the playground, we have to fix the living room. We have to be mindful of the media we consume and the conversations we have in front of our children. On the other side of the coin, let's look at the foreign community and the tourists. Yes, there are bad apples, but the vast majority of foreign residents and visitors are not here to cause trouble. Not all foreigners have problems separating their garbage into burnable and non-burnable. Not all tourists want to harass geishas in Kyoto or kick the sacred deer in Nara. Most foreigners in Japan have a deep, profound respect for the country. Many are here working hard, paying taxes and contributing to the very society that is currently pointing fingers at them. We're losing the individual in the group. When we look at people solely as the Japanese or the foreigners, we strip them of their humanity and individuality. Japan is facing some of the most severe demographic challenges in modern human history. The population is shrinking. The workforce is dwindling. The undeniable reality is that Japan needs talent from abroad to help navigate these economic hurdles. But at the same time, Japan's unique, precious culture is very much worth preserving. The anxiety of losing that culture is valid. The solution isn't a zero-sum game. You don't preserve Japanese culture by yelling at a mixed-race kid in a sandbox. You preserve it through dialogue, education, and shared respect. Both sides need to increase dialogue. Japanese society needs to learn to differentiate between a disrespectful tourist and a hard-working foreign resident. And the foreign community needs to continually strive to understand, respect, and adapt to the delicate social harmony that makes Japan so incredibly special. Understanding people on an individual basis, rather than as a monolithic group, is the only way forward. It will ensure that Japanese society remains strong, retains its beautiful heritage, and simultaneously utilises the vibrant talent coming from abroad. Let's break the xenophobia loop. Let's start talking to each other, rather than about each other. So what are your thoughts on this subject? Have you noticed a shift in the way foreign residents or tourists are treated in Japan or in your own country? Let me know in the comments below. We read every single one. If you found this video insightful, please hit the like button, subscribe to the Asian News Review, and ring that notification bell so that you never miss an update to the news stories that we share. Until next time, stay curious, be kind to one another, and thanks for watching the Asian News Review.